Okay, in this problem, we're going to solve switches. When I'm solving a problem to find out what the result is after the code executes, the first thing I do is I always try to find the matching curly braces and draw a box around the block that they define. So here I have a block defined by the curly braces, and that's my only one. The next thing I do is I look for key words. There are 5 key words that I worry about. They are if, switch, while, do while, and for. Okay, in this case I see my switch. The other thing I look for is the controlling variable, which is going to be the variable inside a conditional test, or in the case of a switch, it's just the variable itself. But in any case, it's always going to be something inside normal parentheses. In this case, it's an X. All right, next thing I do is I make columns for each of my variables. So in this case, I have an X, a Y, and a Z. And then I put the values there as I work through it. So int X is a 0, 9 for Y, and Z is a 6. Okay, and then I just work through the problem in the order in which it's presented here. So I've come to my switch, and it's asking me what is the value of X. In this case, that is a 0. So I look here and I say, which is the first case that matches? Now I forgot something. In switches, the other thing I do is draw a line under each break. The reason I do that is because a case statement or a switch statement finds the first matching case and then continues to execute down until it reaches the first break or the end of the whole block. So in this case, since X is 0, here is my matching case, so that's my entry point, and I'm only going to do the things inside this block. Alright, well, I take Y is equal to 4 divided by 2. When I see division, I'm always thinking, ooh, is this integer division or floating point division? Well, both operands are ints, so I know this is integer division, and 4 divided by 2 in integer division is 2, and I'm going to store that value into Y. So Y becomes a 2. Now I hit my break. So when I hit my break, I exit and go all the way down to the first line that follows the closing curly brace. Here it tells me to take Z and increment it by 2 and store that value back into Z. So 6 plus 2 is 8, and I put that into my Z variable. And now I have my ending values. X is 0, Y is 2, and Z is 8. Okay, now let's get a little different problem. Okay, in this problem, it's very, very similar to the other one, but I'm still going to go through and do the same techniques I did before. First, I find the matching pairs of curly braces and block them off. With the case statement, I also draw lines under each break. Now I look for my controlling variables inside of parentheses next to my keywords, and there's the controlling variable for this one, and my keyword here is the switch. I put my variables up here at the top, so I have a place to record their values and trace their values as I walk through this. Well, I start with this first line, X is 0. Go to the next line, Y is 9. My next line, Z is 6. In my next line, it's changing the value of X. I know that because X is on the left-hand side of the assignment operator. So 12 modulo 9 gives me 3, because modulo returns the remainder from integer division. Okay, so I go down to my cases and find the first case that's equivalent to 3. Well, it's not the first one, not the second one, not the third one. So none of these cases match. If I have a default clause, and I do, then that is the clause that executes if no clause before it matched. Now it is important that you put this default at the bottom, because as soon as it finds default, it will execute if it hasn't found a match yet. So let's look at this. Y is assigned the value of plus plus x. Well, x was 3, right? Whoops, I forgot to update this. Go here and mark that. So x was 3. What happens when I do plus plus? Remember, I always evaluate the right-hand side of an assignment first. Well, plus plus x means to increment x by 1, so my x now becomes 4, and then I store that value in y, so y also becomes 4. And now I come down here to my z, and it tells me that z I should increment by 2. Well, it was 6, and now it's going to become 8. So my ending values are 4, 4, and 8. In my last problem, it's a little bit trickier. So let's see what's going on here. Again, I always start out blocking off my matching curly braces into a box. With switch statements, I draw lines under all of my breaks. Well, here's a break, and here's a break. Now you notice something different this time. There was not a break before the case 2 started, and that's very important that I keep that being aware of that, because this entire section here is going to execute as a single block if I get there. So let's look for my keyword. There's the keyword switch, and my controlling variable, which is y. Make a column for each one. In this case, y is 1. Let's see. X was 0, y was 1, and z was 3 this time. Okay, so I start here. Y is 1, so I come and I enter the switch block here at case equals 1. And it says to set z equal to 15 minus 3. Well, 15 minus 3 is 12. And then I continue on. I can't stop because I haven't hit the break yet. So now I come to this one. Now it says that z is 11 modulo 2. Well, as I take 11 divided by 2, again with modulo, I'm thinking integers, so that's 5 with a remainder of 2, or 1, I'm sorry. 5 with the remainder of 1, so the value stored in z is now 1. Now I've hit my break, so I can skip out to here. If this break wasn't here, I would continue on and do the next expression. But I'm not there. I skipped over it and went to the z plus equal 2, which changes the 1 into a 3. So my ending values are 0, 1, and 3. And that is how you evaluate a switch statement.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.